Hello and welcome to another Baited Gaming Let's Play. My name is Joe, and today we're going to be playing one of my favorite games of all time. It's Phantasy Star IV on the Sega Genesis. I first played this game when I was maybe 11, 12 years old. I was living in Alabama at the time with my family, and I had been really addicted to sports games for whatever reason. And one of my friends introduced me to Phantasy Star he had been playing, and I asked him if I could borrow the game. And I was pretty much addicted from then on in, and he never got the game back. And I have been playing it ever since. One of my favorite games. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into a new game here. Get the controller to work here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to jump right into a new game. So, Phantasy Star is your typical RPG. We're going to meet our main character here right now. So this is Chaz and Elise, and we are currently in the town of Iedo at Elise's house. So Chaz has just become a full-fledged hunter, and Elise, the female there, is part of the Hunters Guild. And we're going on our first mission to the Matavia Academy in the town of Piata. So we're going to go find out what's going on there. So there's going to be a pretty long cutscene here as we go out of the town, and she's going to try and leave Chaz behind because he's too slow. So pretty much the setting of this game is on the planet of Motavia, and a bunch of monster outbreaks have started happening, and hunters, members of the Hunters Guild, have been taking jobs to try and eradicate these monsters. Nobody's really sure where the monsters are coming from or what the cause of them is, and so we're just going to try and figure it out as we go. So our first stop is the Learning Academy in the town of Piata. Okay, so now we're going to just go over here and find Alice. Alright, first thing we're going to do before we get anywhere, is we're going to change the battle speed to fast, and we're going to change the messaging speed to fast. Okay, so we're going to go in here and we're going to talk to the principal. So we're going to get an idea of what our job is here. So the principal is reporting that there's some monsters down in the basement of the academy, and he doesn't know how long they've been there, but he wants us to go down there and destroy them discreetly without letting anyone know. So we're going to go down to the basement and figure out what's going on. So principal seems a little suspicious. We're asking him how monsters could have possibly gotten into the basement of the academy, because they don't normally come to inhabited areas, and he was being a little fishy, so he's probably hiding something. Alright, so we're going to head over to the basement, and we're going to meet our third party member. His name's Han. Okay, so Han's here blocking the entrance, so we're going to talk to him real quick, and there's going to be a pretty hilarious interaction between Elise and Han, where Han wants to join the party, but Elise is going to bait him into paying us to take him. So Han thinks that there's a connection between the monsters in the basement and an expedition team that was sent to Birth Valley in the town of Zima, which is a bit north of where we are right now. So the expedition, everyone has gone missing from it. So Han was waiting for the hunters to come along so that he could help explore and try and figure out what happened to Professor Holt. So he thinks there's a connection, and that leads Elise to believe that the principal's behavior is even more fishy. But Han's a little bit too weak to explore the basement himself, so he's just waiting for the hunters to come along. So she's going to make him pay in order to come with us, and we actually do get that money into the party funds. So he's going to pay up, and then we're going to head down into the basement. Okay, so as you can see, there's a monster. We're going to chase it around. The chests in this area are pretty useless. We don't really need them. It's just a couple Meseta and a healing item. So we're going to go to the bottom floor of the basement. We're just going to run from these guys. We don't need to fight them. So we're going to head to the bottom floor, and we're going to see some pretty weird crap. These are what looks like monster breeding capsules, and there's a ugly green guy at the end of the hall here. So we're going to get right into our first boss battle. Okay, so the combat system here is pretty straightforward. You have your command options, which is you have your basic attack, your spells, techniques, items, and defend. Also, there's a pretty cool macro system. You can set up macros to automatically do things. Now, this game has a pretty interesting system where you can combine different spells and techniques and do more powerful versions of them. Like, you can take like the whirlwind ability Zan and the fire ability Foy, and you can combine them to do a firestorm ability and things like that. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to pretty much just kill the boss. So Elise is going to use her vortex ability. We're going to try and paralyze him because this guy likes to spawn dudes, and Han's just going to defend because he's pretty useless here. Alright, so the earth didn't go off, so we're going to have vortex. Chaz is just going to take care of the dudes on the side, and Han will defend throughout this fight. Okay, so once we've hit this thing with all of our vortexes, the battle should be over. Okay, so we'll just continue hitting. Yeah, Han is a temporary party member. We're not going to be keeping him for very long, so we don't want him to get too many levels. The way that EXP works is whichever party members are alive at the end of combat are the ones that get the EXP. But we want Han to get a few levels because he's going to be pretty useful for a few of the fights coming up. So now that we've realized that these are monster breeding capsules, and we're a little confused on how they got there, if these are breeding capsules, and it's really no mystery how they got there. So Han's confused. He says he has no idea what it is. So we're going to go up to the principal and see if we can shake some information out of him. Alright, so we're going to head back upstairs. We're going to run from all these fights down here. There's pretty useless EXP. We get a chance to do a little bit of grinding later on when we get a pretty powerful party member. Alright, so we're going to head back upstairs. Run from these guys. Okay. Through this door. Down the stairs, or up the stairs rather. And let's go talk to Mr. Principal Man. So he can sense that we're all upset because we feel like we've been lied to, because there's some strange things like monster breeding capsules in the basement. So Elise is going to threaten this man's life, saying that keeping information from her is the 6th most dangerous thing in this world, which she's pretty respected, and she's a badass in her own right. So he's going to talk about the new outbreak of monster, and she's going to thank him, because she's not really hurting for work. He's going to start telling the story of Professor Holt, how he went to Birth Valley, saying that he discovered the remains of an ancient civilization, and they brought back the breeding capsules from Birth Valley without telling anybody, and then went back on another investigation. But nobody came back from Birth Valley. And they didn't send out a rescue team because the principal was threatened by a man called Zio. Zio's a black magician who is really mysterious. You're going to see his name a lot in the beginning here. And he's threatening the principal, saying that if he goes back into Birth Valley, that he's going to turn him to stone. And there's no need for us to go there. So the monsters are definitely related to the research team, and he's keeping it quiet because he's scared of this Zio character. So there's remains of an ancient and advanced civilization, there's a missing investigation team, there's a mysterious black magician guy. So we're going to go up to Birth Valley. Well, at least Han says he's going to go, and Elise says she'll tag along, but it's going to cost some more money because there's some sandworms out in the desert. So we'll take another 300 Meseta. And we're going to go to the northeast. So we're going to leave the town, and we're going to make our way north. So We're going to head out to the south here, go through the town square and out of the town. So the town that we're going to is the town of Zima, which is directly north of here, but on the way we're going to stop at the town of Mile, because there are teleport items and spells in this game, but in order to teleport to these towns, we need to visit them first. So we're going to visit the city of Mile. We don't need to be there right now, and we're going to continue running from these guys. We don't, again, they don't really give a lot of EXP, and they're pretty useless. So we're just going to keep running and make our way to the city of Zima, which is just up north in the mountains here. So as we walk into Zima, we realize that people have been turned to stone, and this is really weird. All the shops are closed up, people are turned to stone, so we're going to head into the Birth Valley Cave up here. So we're going to do some investigating. We're looking for Professor Holt, and oh, can't get away from this guy. Alright, so we're going to keep running. Keep running from... The enemies in here are pretty equivalent to the ones that we saw in the basement of the academy. So we're going to keep moving through this cave. 2 floors worth. And again, these guys aren't worth much EXP. Okay, so we're going to head up to the left here, and we're going to find the research team have all been turned to stone, and Professor Holt has been turned to stone and is blocking a door. So we're going to go investigate him. Alright, so we realize that Professor Holt is turned to stone, and we're trying to figure out how we can break the curse. And Elise has heard of a medicine called Alshline, but we have to go to the Matavian village of Mulcom, which is directly south of here. So we're going to head out of Birth Valley, and we're going to bait Han into some more money. 500 more. Let's go. Pay up. Alright, so we're going to head out of Birth Valley, and we're going to head south to the Matavian village of Mulcom. Okay. So Mulcom is just south of here if you follow the coast. And again, we're not going to fight anything here. Keep moving. Okay. So as we reach the city of Mulcom, we see that there's like a lot of debris around, and the town itself looks kind of destroyed. And as we move forward, we can see that looks like half the town's been burnt to the ground, and there's a dude in the center here, so we're going to talk to him. This is Rune. Rune is a spellcaster who was looking for Alshline as well in the city of Mulcom, but got here a little bit too late, and reports that this was the handiwork of Zio. He destroyed the town trying to prevent the Alshline from being grabbed. So the Zio guy has been pretty much a pain in the butt for the first part of this game. So yep, we're looking for Alshline, so we're going to go to... Rune says there's some in the city of Tano, which is through the cave to the north, but we're going to pass by the village of Krupp first, and then we have to go through the valley. So we're going to head towards Tano. Rune's going to invite himself to come with us. So there's going to be a little bit of banter here between Chaz and Rune, our main characters. And Rune is very, 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 very far level advanced compared to the rest of our team. So we're going to reorder our team. We're going to put him in the front. He's level 17 compared to our level 7, 2, and 2. So we're going to put him in the front. And then we're going to take all of his gear because he's not going to be with us very long. So we're going to grab all of his stuff. And then we're going to set up a macro. Now, macro gives you an automatic turn order. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up Rune to use his Gra ability, which is an AoE. And he's pretty much just going to one-shot things for us as we walk around. So we're going to head over to Krupp first for teleport purposes later in the game. Just walk in, walk out. And then we're going to head north to the valley leading to Tano. So we're going to have to go through this cave. But unfortunately, this cave is blocked by a rock, but Rune says that he can take care of it, so he's going to have us stand back, and he's going to shoot a big old fireball, destroying all the rocks, and everyone's going to be super confused. So nobody's ever seen this before, and the technique's different, so magic just doesn't really exist on this planet anymore. So they're a little confused. So we're gonna head through this valley maze. Now this is where we're gonna do a little bit of our grinding, because we need to get a bunch of money here, and we need to get our party members Chaz and Han some experience because we're going to need them for an upcoming fight. So we're just going to walk through this and we're going to fight everything that we see. The goal here is we want to be around 3,400 gold, and we want Chaz and Han to learn their abilities TSU and Watt. So we got Watt for Han, which is a water-based ability, and we're looking for Chaz to level up and get Su, which is a light-based ability. So we're pretty much going to have Rune AoE down everything for us. He's pretty overpowered at this point. So this cave is pretty much 3 levels, very easy to navigate. 2 treasure chests in here, which we are going to grab because one of them does have money in it, and money is pretty tight in this game. There, unless you do a lot of grinding, which we don't really want to do a lot of grinding, but there will be points where we have to for money purposes. So we're going to head up to the right, and there's going to be a chest in this room. The best thing that we can fight are these sand newts. They give the most EXP and gold, and so we learned TSU, which is good. And we're going to grab the money, and we need about another 1,200 Meseta or so. General rule of thumb is that you want to just keep grinding in this cave until Rune is out of technique points. So we're just gonna keep walking back and forth. This has been pretty easy cave actually. Haven't been a lot of encounters. So we're just gonna keep walking around until Rune's out of TP. So I'll probably edit this out of the grinding session because I'm just gonna be walking around for the next few minutes just killing things. Okay, so we'll keep walking. Yeah, there's really not much excitement going on here. We just need to get a few levels before we get to the next area, that's all. There we go, surprise attack. And the slimes that you saw, the oozes, they're pretty much the best for getting money. They're about 40 Meseta a piece compared to everything else. So I'm just keep running around and hope to kill more stuff. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Spawn faster. Okay, let's kill these oozes. And you want to get probably one more level for Chaz. Yeah, he's level 4. We probably want to get him one more level before we go into the next dungeon. So we're going to keep killing things. And once we get to the next town, Rune's going to leave us, so it just makes sense to make use of his over-leveled and get everyone some EXP while we can. So that's good. 71 and 120 is pretty good. So keep going. Yeah, we try not to do too many grinding sessions because grinding obviously is not very fun. So there we go. Chaz got his level up. That's 10 HP. That's pretty much what we wanted. So we're about at 3,000 gold. Probably need a couple more encounters before we go into the town because we need to get a bunch of shields for everybody so that they actually live through the dungeon, because the next dungeon has some monsters that are pretty gruesome. So probably 2 or 3 more encounters will do it. Nope, I didn't realize that he was out of TP. That's not good. So we're gonna run away, because I did not realize that. Okay, so we're gonna head out of the town, and we're going to go directly to the inn. The inn resurrects all of your members if any of them are dead. So we're going to stay at the inn real quick. And then we're going to go make some purchases. So we're going to head over to the armor store, which is hidden in here. There it is. So we're going to buy 6 carbon shields. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And we're going to equip those onto Elise, Chaz, and Han. Okay, then we're going to go over to the item store, and we're going to get a couple telepipes. Those are for teleporting out. 2, 3, and then some escape pipes. We're going to grab 4 of those. 3, 4. And since we have a little bit of money left over, we're going to go into the armor store again. We're going to sell his white mantle, and we're going to buy a... I guess we'll buy a... No, hold on to our money. I don't think we need to. So we're going to equip Han with this circlet that we got from Rune, and then we're going to continue on. So what we're doing in the city to know is we're going to go meet up with Grandfather Doran. Grandfather Doran is an information monger, and he will hopefully give us some information on where we can get some Alshline. So he's going to ask us a few questions. No, we don't want to know about titanium. No, we don't really care why it's blocked by a rock, but oh, do we want to know the measurements of Elise? Yes, absolutely. So he's a pretty hilarious guy. He's going to start telling the measurements of Elise, and then she's going to get pretty annoyed and punch him right in the face. So, so pretty interesting dialogue between the two of them here. So he's asking Rune for help. Rune's like, you don't change, old man. So at this point, Rune's here to talk to Grandfather Doran about some item that was entrusted, and tell him that we're looking for Alshline. And there's some, he says, in the basement of the warehouse in the back. But it's unused right now, so it's got some monsters in it. So we're going to get our next party member, which is, his name is Grizz. He's a native Motavian, so that's why he looks weird. Most of the people that you see on this planet are not from the planet of Motavia. They're from the planet of Parma, which was destroyed a couple thousand years ago. And the Parmanians were supposedly on a spaceship and landed on Motavia and began to reproduce and continue their lives. So the ones that look relatively human, those are the Parmanians, and the ones with the furry blue faces, those are Motavians. And then Rune says, don't get any ideas like fighting Zio, like, you're no match for him right now. And Rune's going to leave the party, and we're going to get Grizz, and we're going to go look for the Alshline in the basement. So the party's going to reorder, and we're going to head over to the basement, which is up and to the left. And before we enter the basement, we're going to do a little bit of menuing. So Grizz is another one of those temporary party members, so we don't really care if he lives or dies. And we're going to take his armor, throw it on Chaz, and yep, and then we can move on. We're going to make one macro once we open the door. So you could get to this basement before getting Grizz, but the door would be locked, and it's required for him to open it for you. Okay, so we're going to make one macro here. We're going to delete this one. We're going to make a macro for what's called the Tri-Blaster, which is Watt, Foy, and Sue, and then Grizz will just sit in the back and attack. So if we happen to get a surprise attack on anything, we're going to actually kill it, but for the most part we're going to be running from everything. That's why we grabbed a bunch of shields. So this basement's pretty dangerous. All the monsters hit pretty hard because we're not very high level, and not only that, they have status effects like sleep and paralysis and things like that, so we want to try to avoid all of that. So we're going to head through this basement here. We're going to head up. There's a chest up here on the right, and it's going to have a titanium crown that's going to be equipped onto Elise, giving her a little bit more defense just in case she has to take a hit. Then we're going to head down the stairs to the next level, and we're going to go around the back of this room here, and in that room is the treasure chest that contains the Alshline. Okay, so we're going to run from this group. We don't want to fight those. We're going to be doing a lot of running from the trash mobs here, unless we have to do grinding. Okay, so we're going to run from these guys. Alright, and in this chest here is the Alshline. So we're going to head over to Zima now and save those people. And Grizz was a living survivor of the city of Malcolm that was destroyed by Zio, and he was unable to save his parents. They were killed by Zio, and all he has left is his little sister now. So he wants to get revenge on Zio, but we're not really at the point where we can fight him yet. So Grizz is going to come with us for now, and he might be a little bit of help, but for the most part he's just going to be soaking up damage for us and taking hits. He's not really... And now we're ambushed. As you can see, like, these guys hit really hard. Like, Grizz almost got 2 hit. So we're gonna run from these guys. Okay. So we're gonna open up this other chest, grab another escape pipe, and then we're gonna get out of here. Oh, can't use that here, so we need to escape out. And then we're gonna use a telepipe, and we're gonna go to Zima. So we're going to walk in here, and the cutscene's instantly going to pop open, where we pour this sweet pink liquid on everyone, and we bust them out of their stone. And then Han, very happy, gets to Professor Holt and breaks him out of his stone. And Professor Holt has no idea that he's been turned to stone. He's just like, there's so many relics here, and he's just kind of self-absorbed and absorbed in all the things that are around him. He's like, oh, I didn't really know that I was turned to stone, but I'm good as new now, so no need to worry. Let's keep investigating. And he wants Han to go back to the academy and give them a report on what's going on. So, and he's going to keep going further into Birth Valley. So we have managed to save the citizens of Zima from Zio's curse of stone. So we're going to head over to the inn, and we're going to take it easy for the rest of the day and just kind of relax. Oh, I forgot to set one more macro. Oops. So, Han's going to return to the academy and report about what's going on. And Grizz is really, really insistent on fighting Zio and getting his revenge. But Elise becomes the rational one here and says, let's go back to Aido, where the Hunters Guild is, and report it. And now our next crisis comes up. Someone's screaming, and a monster is coming out of Birth Valley, and it's the same green monster that we fought at the very beginning of the game in the basement. So we just need to fight it. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to put weapons on our guys, so we're going to try and insta-kill this thing with Crash. So we're going to defend with everybody else. There we go. Crash is an insta-hit, insta-kill on biological monsters. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But good thing it worked there, so we were able to one-hit that. And everyone thinks that that all these monsters are a curse upon us because we're exploring sacred areas. So we're going to go inside Birth Valley and see what's going on. But first, time to bribe Han some more. We're going to get another 1,000 Meseta from him. And he apparently is getting married, and we're going to have to dip into his funds. But whatever, we need 1,000 more Meseta. Money's tight in this shit. Alright, so we're going to make a cut here. When we come back next time, we'll go through Birth Valley, and we'll meet our next permanent party member. Her name's Erika. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, and leave some comments below. And if there are any other games that you'd like us to play, then be sure to leave it in the comments. And I love playing all kinds of retro games. I'm down to play anything. So if you have any suggestions on what you want to see, leave them below, and we'll hopefully get them out to you. Again, my name's Joe, and this is Beta Gaming. Alright, have a good day.